Now, I've been using the S23 FE here for the past 3 months, and this is my long-term review of what I feel about the phone and if this is worth considering or not in 2024. I'm Captain Awesome, this is Geekception, and I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and also become a member on this page if you want to see more wonderful content like this. First, let's talk about my pros about the S23 FE. And for a quick recap, in case you don't already know, these are some of the specs of the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE right here. Let's start with the display. The display here is bright and sharp, and because of that 120 Hz refresh rate here, it is actually very smooth as well, which means that when going in throughout the interface, you are rarely ever going to notice any lags here on this phone. The colors are vibrant and accurate, and the viewing angles are pretty wide as well. The screen also has this hole punch cutout camera right here, which is not too intrusive, and the bezels here, I must admit, are not the thinnest, but you do not notice them in everyday use, or at least I didn't. The display has an in-screen fingerprint scanner there, and as you can see, it is very fast. Like, I rarely ever noticed when this did not work properly. Moving on to battery life, and I would say I got more than a full day's use out of the S23 FE right here. I believe it supports about 25 watt wired charging and 15 watt wireless charging. And also, when it comes to fast charging, it's not the fastest in the market, I have to admit, but it was good enough for most of the times when I needed to top up. A feature I like here is that it also has wireless power sharing, which means that you can actually use this phone to charge another device, such as maybe like the Galaxy Watch, for example. Now, moving on to camera, and the quality here is decent, not mind-blowing like, let's say, the flagship S23 Ultra, for example, but I found it to be actually pleasing to look at. And you know, when I took the camera for what it was and what it wasn't, I actually enjoyed taking lots of photos here on the S23 FE. Video-wise, the phone can record up to 8K at 24p, though I never found myself really using it. I stuck to mostly 4K 60p, and it was good enough for most of my use cases. And something I've noticed here is that on the UHD 60, I have no other lens to use. I can only use the wide. I cannot use the ultra wide or the telephoto. You also get all the camera modes that we've come to expect on Samsung phones here, such as, you know, your photo mode, your portrait mode, in video mode as well. Like I said, you have 4K 60. If you go into more right there, you actually have some more pro settings, food mode, a dedicated food mode, portrait video, which I did not really like at all how it looked. But yeah, I would say for a feature set here, they did not really remove features from the camera interface here that is present on the senior S23 line. Now, while I've enjoyed using the S23 FE, there are some things that I've noticed that you most definitely should know. I would not say they are cons per se, but it's definitely good for you to know them. While mine is not as worse as some people that I've heard from, the phone does get a bit hot, especially when I am, let's say, using the camera for extended period of time. And I have to also tell you, like, you know, like I'm in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia here, where it gets really hot outside. So that's another thing to consider. If you live in a place that is very hot, you might want to, you know, not use this for a long extended period of time for something like the camera. And also when it comes to, you know, just general feel, sometimes I feel it gets a bit hotter. But again, like, you know, if you're not gaming for, let's say, 5 hours at a time or something, I don't think that would be an issue. But that's something that I definitely have to tell you that I noticed when I use this phone. Now, I love taking photos on any phone that I get to try or I get to use, or even in everyday life. And one thing that I definitely notice here is that the camera interface sometimes can get bogged down on the S23 FE. And you know, when you are switching between modes, and sometimes when you even just take a photo and like you're in another app, so you decide to switch to your photos app. So let's say right now I'm on Twitter, and then I decided to, like, you know, switch to the camera app. You can see there's like sort of that blackout where you just jump from one app to the other like so quickly like that. And I noticed that sometimes I miss some shots. So, you know, definitely this is not the flagship phone. You know, if you want the flagship phone, you get the S23 Ultra or the S24 series that will be coming out very soon. So that's something you should take note of, that, you know, adjust your expectations accordingly. And the last thing that I noticed that, you know, when I wrote this review was about how, you know, I noticed some, you know, bugs in the interface. You know, some things did not quite load quickly, but actually, since, you know, I've gotten one UI update that Samsung actually updated the S23 FE like super quickly as well. You know, good job, Samsung. I've actually noticed that most of those glitches and bugs that were in the interface before are actually disappeared. And I kept this in this segment because, like, you know, I don't want to like not mention that I experienced that in the beginning of when I used the phone, but actually more recently, I've noticed that the phone runs really smooth, and I rarely have like any complaints as regards to like glitches or if the phone like, you know, lags or whatever. Like, it's pretty good for me right now. And in conclusion, is this S23 FE for you? Well, that is up to you to decide, but from my own long-term experience with the phone, I would say it has a really good, decent battery life, which means that, you know, it lasted me 2 days easily, like even with me using my apps, with me taking photos and like using everything I could on the phone, I could barely kill it in like 1 day. The camera is where I was actually really surprised. Like, you know, it's actually pretty decent. Most of the photos I got from it are like, wow, you know, like this is my face right now. But most of the photos I actually got from it were photos that I was like quite shocked. Like even this is like a 3x photo that I took on the phone, and like it actually renders it very well. I cannot explain, like the photo rendering is just really nice. At least nicer than I thought this phone will have. And also, you know, the S23 24 series is coming out very soon. So, you know, if you can get this at a cheaper price as well, since, you know, the price has definitely dropped a lot in the past months, I would highly recommend it, because yeah, you cannot go wrong with this nice device here. And I have this skin here, which, you know, I got from Samsung for free before the end of last year. Very nice. So, you know, definitely customize that, because I found the glass back to be a fingerprint magnet and it drove me up the wall. But right now, is really nice actually. And yes, that has been it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And, you know, again, for this video, I did not really focus on specs or, you know, all of this synthetic benchmark, because I don't use my phone like that. I don't use my phone running tests over and over again. I just use it by, you know, opening the camera app, by, you know, scrolling on Twitter, by like, you know, being on Instagram or something like that. And for me, it was a phone that really performed really well. Now, it's up to you. Are you interested in the S23 FE? Is this a phone that you are considering right now, or do you already have it? What are your experiences? Please let me know in the comment section down there below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button in case you like what I'm doing here. And also, we have memberships now, so you can support me. That would be fantastic. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself. I've been Captain Awesome. This is Geekception, and I am from Nigeria with Love.